Well, in response to COVID-19 and its disruption of the workforce, the Senate is expected to vote on an emergency bill entitled the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, which will dramatically expand the Family and Medical Leave Act. Joining us now is Jonathan Bell, labor and employment attorney and the founder of Bell Law Group. Jonathan, great to have you with us today. What exactly are the key provisions in the bill that are meant to support the labor force through this very difficult time?
Well, the most important part of it is paid sick leave. There's a lot of people who are going to be out of work, and they want to encourage people to stay home in quarantine and not worried about having their job available and being paid. So what the bill is going to do is require employers to pay them for 2 weeks or 10 business days, essentially is that time of quarantine. In addition, have them leave the job open as job security to return. And in addition to that, states like New York, believe it or not, they've already passed it. It actually just passed today. It's breaking news, specifically for the coronavirus. If an employer has over 100 employees, they're required to pay 14 days of sick leave. If there's anywhere between 10 to 99 employees, they're looking at 5 paid days. And less than 10 employees earning or netting less than $1 million, they don't have to pay, but they have to keep the job open. So as an employment lawyer like myself, who represents a lot of employers and employees, I'm getting calls left and right, and we're constantly updating some memos regarding the ever-changing landscape of the law right now.
We have seen some companies, especially gig economy companies, proactively taking measures to provide sick leave like Uber, DoorDash, Postmates, etc. What would this kind of bill actually mean for those companies that have already been under a lot of scrutiny as to the benefits they provide their contract workers?
Well, as long as they're providing the minimum of what the bill requires, they don't have to make any changes. If they're voluntarily doing something and it doesn't meet the minimum of the bill, then they're required to change it to meet those minimum requirements. That's really it. I mean, to be honest with you, the biggest call I'm getting is employees telling their employers the fact that they've been diagnosed, and the employer saying, "Well, what do we do?" And the answer is simple. You got to find out from the employee who they came in contact with in the company. Approach those people, have them go home, but not tell them the name of the person who in fact was diagnosed, because they're protected by HIPAA and ABA. So really, all employers out there and employees that don't know what to do in this crazy work environment right now really need some guidance, which we're trying to provide.
Are there any shortcomings to this bill or areas of improvement that you would hope would be pushed forward?
Well, you just want to make sure they cover everybody. I mean, I've heard some talk where it's not going to cover employers with 500 or more employees, thinking that those companies already have adequate policy in place. So we just want to make sure that it's broad sweeping and really protects all the employees. At the end of the day, we have to work together as a community to make sure this is not spread. And the only way that we could do that is to ensure that people feel safe, that if they need to stay home, they will be paid and their job security remains. That's really the key. If someone feels sick and but they're paycheck to paycheck and they can't afford to leave something, they're going to go in and they're putting other people at jeopardy, customers at jeopardy. It's really going to be a difficult time in this country, and it is.
Yeah, it really is about that peace of mind, and these workers are suffering day to day, not knowing what's going to happen. But speaking of timing here, if passed by the Senate, it then goes to Trump's desk. How soon might we see this be passed and actually enacted?
I would say within the week, because we need it now. I mean, it's spreading out of control. Everything that's happening now, as far as the numbers coming out, is based on people who were infected last week. By next week, it's going to be a whole number of people, and it's going to keep on escalating. So they keep on saying, let's stay ahead of the curve, stay ahead of the curve. This is the way that you do it. Social distancing, more like social isolation, and this will get it done. The problem is that everyone's focusing on the fact of the people who are already symptomatic. This thing is spread by asymptomatic. So really, companies that could somehow, like I closed my office for 2 weeks, all my attorneys could work from home. Companies that could do that should do that right away and not wait for federal or local government to tell you to do that.
All right, thanks to Jonathan Bell, labor and employment attorney and the founder of Bell Law Group. Jonathan, thanks again for your time.
Thank you.